They were looking for ways to keep the younger students, their children, from leaving and moving to the large cities or to another part of the country. And through technology, companies were able to come in, like Oracle, and we were able to help them develop this call center. Well, then they realized they're going to need to have the people available to do the work. Now, of course, many of you are at a much higher skill level, right? Because you're computer science majors and so forth of your life, so you have a higher degree of education. What I'm getting at is the entire community, the entire global community is being retrained in so many ways because we're going away from a lot of the manufacturing jobs and we're moving into technical jobs. We need people like you to develop and create the software and create the opportunities for people to come in as end users, or some of the people do the grunt work to run these pieces of equipment. So how do you successfully compete? Well, you all have some pretty good ideas probably about that because you've been in school probably a very, very long time, right? And it seems like you're probably feeling like at times you're never going to get out of here, right? I've been there. And but you really need to think about some things. You want to get a degree in a growing field. You don't want to get a degree in something that's not there. You really got to keep on top of things. Competition, as we talked about, is fierce. The skills that employers want and need, that's something to think about. There's more to it than just actually getting the degree in, let's just say, computer science. I'll just do it as a broad term. You're going to need some other skills as well. With the employment rate at 9.6% and higher here in the U.S., there are a lot of people out there, as you, I'm sure, are very well aware of, that are anxious to take positions that normally would be an entry-level position. People with years and years of experience who are coming in and saying, hey, I need a job. I've got this experience. You could hire me. And you know, I've got some experience. That's that key word, that experience word that we always see when we're looking for jobs, and it's a tough one. It's really a tough one. So we've got to think of some ways to make it appear that you stand out, because you do stand out, because you have some experience that somebody else doesn't have. That's a key to being successful. You really need to be actively thinking of ways that you can develop your skills that you have. There are a lot of different types of skills more than just programming. You have your technology skills that are extremely important, and you're very fortunate that you've got these technology skills. There are so many people that are really still struggling, but we have to also go beyond that with your critical thinking skills and your communication skills. One of the things that I realized working as I do at Oracle, I work on a team that, and the way our company's divided up, and a lot of big corporations are divided like this, and I didn't think about it until I really started working there, but we're one big global company. But we're not just one big global organization as a whole. We are like miniature countries, little companies within different countries all over the world. So every place I go, if I'm in Shanghai, the region there, and I'm meeting with the managing director for Shanghai, he's running his entire region, he's running his line of business, and he's doing what he wants to do. Alfonso Diani, who runs Eastern European region of Europe, he's running his business for Austria, Vienna, for Switzerland, and Zurich, and so forth, and some of those other regions. What I'm getting at is, you're scattered about. I work for many of these different people. We all come together. But having critical thinking skills and being able to work independently is extremely important. Being able to be really like I work for myself. I feel like I am a contractor a lot of times because I have to make decisions. I have to think about what I'm doing and how it's going to impact my employer. I have to think about what it is that I'm contributing. Being able to communicate. Communication is a key to being able to begin to stand out as you are thinking about these interview processes that you're all going to be going through, or are going through, or have been through. All of us have to keep thinking about thinking skills and how to communicate, how to write, how to communicate, how very, very important communications skills really are. You know what your technology skills should be or would be, something along these lines. You are all very smart people, I can tell that, it's very obvious. Critical thinking, though, you've got to be a problem solver. You've got to be analytical. You've got to be able to let things go and only focus on what needs to be done. And sometimes that's really, really hard. Being flexible, being able to see what has to be done and how you have to be able to be flexible to be able to get there, so that you are able to stand out to your potential employer, to your boss as a leader, as somebody who is able to make decisions and be able to do that in a pace that is scalable. See, that's a big thing too. When you're doing some of this thinking and you're working with your positions that you are being faced with, I'm daily faced with scalability issues and cost and how to do things. If you are thinking about those things when you are interviewing, if you are going to an employer talking about a position that you may be moving into, that where maybe you are moving into a management position if you're fortunate enough, or if that's something you wanted to do. A lot of people don't want to do that. But if you do want to move into that region, you would want to begin to think about ways that you could make a difference by being able to do more with the proverbial less, the way things go. I can't emphasize enough strong written and verbal communication skills. Over and over again, that is really one of the biggest deciding factors that I look at when I am interviewing people that I'm hiring. If you can't communicate, if you can't write well, then you're not effectively able to get your point across. And it's really very, very important to, and I will admit to you that I today continue to take communications and writing classes just to brush up on skills that I can use to help me write a better executive summary, or to be able to effectively go through and edit a narrative, or be able to write narratives for some type of a topic that I'm talking about. So that's very, very important. And then again, working with remote team members, being able to collaborate. So, I think we've already seen that one. So, in developing your skills, by the way, I hate using notes. You guys are this is your first meeting of the year. You're actually my first presentation using this new lecture that was just given to me yesterday. I'm starting to do a little trip across the country, and so I do apologize because I don't like using notes like this. But when you think about developing your actual skills, companies all around the world have competitions, okay? And Microsoft, many of you may have heard of or competed in the Imagine Cup. IBM has the Battle of the Brains. You've got Google. Google has a great competition that they've just released a couple weeks ago, maybe a few weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at it. You're saying, well, why is he saying that? He's from Oracle. The point is, we came out here, we're an Oracle Education Initiative. Yes, we want you to take a look at what we have, and I'll show you in a minute just so you have an idea of what we do. But we want you to consider involving yourself in some type of a competition. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you involve yourself in something like this, you're able to put it on your resume. I did this, I created this using this particular programming language, or I did this using some type of software, blah, 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 and I'm the chief engineer of this, and I did that, da, 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 and we came in third place, or we won, or whatever the case may be. This is beginning to help you stand out from other people when you're writing a resume and you want to be effective, and like, hey, I stand out because when you're perusing a resume, keep in mind, people who work for me who are in HR, who go through and pre-screen, they have 3 seconds to look at your resume and decide whether or not they want it. That's the average amount of time. So as they are leafing through all of the resumes that they may have gotten for a particular position, the average first hit is 3 seconds. So the presentation, the communication on the paper, the layout, the writing has to hit from the very beginning, right? Of course, the competition that we have at Oracle is a ThinkQuest competition, and this particular competition is open. Probably quite a few of you would be able to compete if you were interested in doing so. It's for people who are, the cutoff age is 22 years old or younger, and you can enter in this international competition that we have. The way ours works is you have an opportunity to select a real world problem that needs to be solved. Again, this is something you could think about. You could work on as an individual. An individual is considered a team. You can have up to, I believe, 4 people on, actually 6 people with this competition, up to 6 people on one team, and you can collaborate. It doesn't have to be somebody here, it could be someone here, your friend who lives in Indonesia, your other friend who lives over in Australia. But the entries do have to be in English. I would encourage you, if you're interested, to take a look at thinkquest.org at our competition that is out there. One thing that's kind of fun is I always enjoy seeing what happens with the winners of the competition. It's truly life-changing. If you never entered in a competition, it doesn't matter if it's Google or if it's Oracle or if it's whomever's. If you win and you get the opportunity to have all the fanfare that goes with it. Just to give you an idea of what ours is like, the winning teams, the first, second, and third place, get a trip to California. You get to meet our co-president, Oracle Safra Katz. My organization reports into her office. And you would be out there more than likely during the week of called Oracle Open World. It's around that time where there are just thousands and thousands and thousands of technology industry specialists and people from all over the world who are visiting San Francisco in the Bay Area for that particular period of time. And it's really a life-changing event. So those are the types of things people win with it. It's called ThinkQuest Live. You get to have a meeting. You get to meet a lot of the architects at Oracle, the people who are developing software products. You get to meet people from all over the world. I think that's probably one of the best